Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Maximus the Fourth. What I have to your guys' left is a can of Pepsi made with real sugar. To your guys' right is the actual legit Pepsi that we all know today as just Pepsi, the universal Pepsi that's been around the longest of all time. The title of today's video is Does Pepsi with real sugar taste different than actual legit universal Pepsi? Now, for those of you that don't know, Pepsi was first created by a guy that went by the name of Caleb Bradham. This was a gentleman who owned a pharmacist, and the original name of Pepsi was known as Brad's Drink. This might be a little bit off topic, but it's some very fascinating information that I think you guys would love. As time went by, Caleb eventually changed the name to Pepsi instead of Brad's Drink. Pepsi actually derives from a medical word that's called dyspepsia, Dyspepsia. So Caleb Bradham, all he did is he took Pepsi out right from the middle of dyspepsia. It basically is a medical word for stomach discomfort or / indigestion. I think Pepsi came out in the late 1800s, but at one point sugar was way too expensive. I mean, it just shot through the roof. So Caleb actually had to switch to syrup that he would sell to customers instead, so they could make their own Pepsi that way instead of just buying it out of a bottle or can. I don't know if any of you guys remember, but I want to say, just off of intuition, back around like 2005, maybe 2010, 11, or 12, there was actually Pepsi Throwback. And they actually did the same thing with Mountain Dew. That one was also named as Throwback, and that was the original name of Pepsi that had real sugar in it, was Pepsi Throwback. There was much trial and error with real sugar and high fructose corn syrup, but I believe in 1984, according to DJ Glowing Ice, they had switched from the real sugar in Pepsi to the high fructose corn syrup permanently. And just to confirm to you guys, from what I could see looking at DJ Glowing Ice's video right now, Pepsi Throwback was first released in 2009. And for some weird reason along the way, when Pepsi Throwback had first come out, before Pepsi made with real sugar, they had released Pepsi Throwback and then discontinued it about 3 or 4 different times. They were just playing around, kind of tinkering around with the market, seeing how people were going to like it. But in my personal opinion, that was just stupid, because it caused a lot of heartache and grief for fans when they were doing that. There really was no need for that. Now, what's crazy enough is that really the only difference that there was between Pepsi Throwback and Pepsi made with real sugar, as we know today, is that the Pepsi Throwback had 10 more calories in it than the Pepsi made with real sugar. So it's an ever so slight difference that they had put out. But they did it because, I guess that was their way to solidify that Pepsi Throwback and Pepsi made with real sugar really did have some sort of a difference. Now, for you raging Pepsi fans out there that are intrigued by Pepsi Cola made with real sugar, you should know that there have been 2 other flavors that have been included on Pepsi's line of Pepsi made with real sugar, and that is both Wild Cherry and Pepsi Vanilla. I believe that Pepsi Vanilla made with real sugar had come out in 2014 and was discontinued in 2018. And for the life of me, I can't remember exactly when Wild Cherry was first released on the real sugar line, but I want to say around 2014 or 15 or 16. And I'm pretty sure both of those are discontinued to this very day, but rather they do exist or not, it's kind of unknown. And if they do, they're both very spotty and hard to find. But off topic, more about Pepsi made with real sugar. Now, I wouldn't have known this off of my own personal knowledge, but according to DJ Glowing Eyes, because I know he's so accurate, Pepsi made with real sugar does tend to be a lot more spottier than most sodas, and it's kind of similar to the elusiveness of Pepsi Vanilla. However, in my region where I'm at in Oregon, it's actually pretty easy for me to find in Grants Pass and even both White City. It's just kind of all over the place over here. And I know that it's in even places like Massachusetts, in I think Illinois, and but it is kind of hard to find, which is surprising. But hey, if you're not a state that uh, doesn't have a scarcity resource of this, then you couldn't really know what it feels like to really know what it's like to be at a shortage of this soda. Now, the only true difference between Pepsi made with real sugar and the actual legit Pepsi that we all know universally as today is that Pepsi made with real sugar does not have high fructose corn syrup. It's just made with real sugar cane. Whereas Pepsi, actual legit stuff, does have high fructose corn syrup, but it also does have sugar in it as well, aside from just the high fructose corn syrup. And I think that that's why Pepsi tends to be so much sweeter than a lot of other sodas out there. Now that I've given you guys some history on Pepsi made with real sugar, it is time to answer the question, does Pepsi with real sugar taste different than the actual legit Pepsi? Here we go. Okay, now because I am so familiar with actual legit Pepsi, I'm going to go ahead and take a sip of this first. Okay, tastes the same way as always, very sweet, not much going on other than the high fructose corn syrup, and it just simply being sweet, very typical Pepsi taste, done and over with. Now, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see how the real sugar tastes. This just has a very syrupy taste. Not like overly syrupy like Pepsi Wild Cherry, but syrupy enough. Here's the real sugar. Oh, wow. Oh, man, that is a big difference. Man, that is trippy. That is so trippy. Whoa! I totally have this figured out. Oh my goodness. So, whoa. I am in so much shock right now with this experiment. The normal Pepsi, it just has that really robust, like, pow! Sweet flavor that always punches you right square decked in the face. But the Pepsi made with real sugar, it has a lot more of a tame flavor. It almost tastes like it could be just as sweet, but there's like this really crazy blanket that's just thrown over it that's covering the sweetness of it. Kind of like Will Clark from the San Francisco Giants when he'd hit a home run. Pow! He would always do this. And I believe they called him the vampire. Now, this, the best way I can describe metaphorically how Pepsi made with real sugar tastes. The shock value is drinking a Pepsi, normal, legit stuff, would be like firing a weapon just normally. Boom! Pop! 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 It's really, really loud. Well, Pepsi, made with real sugar, it's like you're putting a silencer on it. You drink it, you're getting these nice sweet notes, and they are the furthest thing from overly sweet, but kind of just as effective. It's just like it's quite a trippy thing. Like, how in the world do you make something taste like normal Pepsi does, except it has a hiddenness to it? I mean, it definitely doesn't taste like actual Pepsi for sure. That is so different. It is. This is one of the most trippiest experiments I've ever done in my entire life. Like, just the shock value alone is unbelievable. Like, if I were to score Pepsi on a scale of 1 to 10, I might give it an 8. This one, because of the shock value, like how much is just kind of taken away. Metaphorically, you could give this a 4 out of 10, but it's not a bad 4 at all. It's like a 4 that's secretly in disguised a 9 out of 10. I don't know how to explain that, but that is just literally how big of a thriller this soda is. It's unreal. Like, you can't rate this soda based on the taste. You have to rate it based on the effort that they put into it. And this is not like anything I've ever experienced before on my channel. Like, I'm not even just saying this to you guys to try to be cool or what, but yeah, normal Pepsi, boom. It's just got that same sweet taste like it always does. Hits very fast. And then the real sugar, oh my gosh. That is just so trippy. Man, I don't even know what else to say. That's all I can tell you guys. At the end of the day, I would give Pepsi made with real sugar a 7.5 out of 10. If anyone has not ever tried this before, I highly recommend it. It is some kind of an experience that is very hard to articulate, but it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, I just don't know how they did that. It's like magic. So there you guys have it. You've heard it from me. Does Pepsi made with real sugar taste different than Pepsi legit stuff? Yeah, it absolutely does. Anyone that has never tried this needs to get their hands on it and give it a shot. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also, share it with a buddy. And if you did enjoy this video, drop a comment down below to help boost the algorithm and let me know what you think. Also, for those of you that might be here for the very first time watching Maximus the Fourth, maybe you need something else to do. Make sure you check out my video, Does Wild Cherry Pepsi Taste Different than Pepsi Wild Cherry? That is a video that I dropped about 4 or 5 months ago. I will make sure to link it down in the description below. Definitely check that one out. It's quite a thriller, and I'm almost at 1,000 views. I just need a little bit more. And also, for those of you that do like this channel, aside and in addition from being monetized, if you would like to help support this channel, I'm going to leave both a Venmo and Cash App link in the description. And also, if you want to try out some rare sodas like Crystal Pepsi, Pepsi Blue, Mountain Dew Baja Deep Dive, even some full cans of Mountain Dew Sangrita Blast, I'm your guy. check out my eBay store, and I will also link that down in the description. Maximus the Fourth here, signing out. I thank you guys as always for watching, and I will see you next time.